What's good, my brother? Good to see you. You're looking good over there, looking sharp.
I appreciate that. When you say it, I know it's true.
That mic is awesome too, man.
Thank you, man.
That's
I just want to
nice
make sure
mic.
you guys see this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
The golden mic, everybody. The golden mic.
My guy, when I text you the picture, you was like, you better have something to say when you break
Bro,
that out.
If you got a pretty mic like that and a good quality mic like that, your content better be good.
Hey, man,
you can't have no raggedy content with a mic like that.
You got one over there. You got a good one over there,
yeah,
too.
that's good. Oh, yeah. This is, radio station standard issued.
Right. So
RE 24,
something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
45, 37.
I got one of them, yeah.
I know. All right, man. Listen, without further ado, what we love to do is bring our special guests in the right way. So we're going to do that right now.
It's all about that star power.
Stay tuned because you know Reec is going to have one of your favorite stars with him today.
Stay tuned.
All right, let me turn this music down because what we like to do here at the Reec Show, we like to give you the biggest intro ever, or the biggest intro ever. But this man right here is going to get the biggest intro ever. And we got a live studio audience today. Let's make some noise for the live studio audience. Y'all can make some noise back there. They can hear y'all. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing popping, man.
I'm paying y'all later, though.
Right, there we go. The checks in the mail.
How good you are over there.
Checks in the mail, y'all. All right, listen, man. This is the biggest intro ever for Hurricane Dave Smith. He's won 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards and the Radio Living Legend Award. I could really just stop right there.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, nah, we're going to keep going.
Keep going.
This man's got an Icon Award, Mentor of the Year Award, Programmer of the Year Award, Trailblazer of the Year Award, 2 times Tastemaker of the Year Award. Program 12 #1 radio stations. Hit the hype button for that, man.
True.
He's won in every single market he's programmed in. And in less than 24 months ago, he ranked number 37 out of all station programs in the United States. Let's hit that button again.
True.
That's the stuff you can Google. All right, this is where it gets sticky. This is the only radio programmer to appear on one of the biggest TV shows of our culture has ever produced. I'm talking about Martin.
Martin Lawrence. Yeah, I was on Martin.
We're going to talk about that. He had an argument with, respectfully, for our ages, one of the biggest artists of all generation. I'm talking about the artist formerly known as Prince or Prince.
Research on me, huh? Because I didn't put all that in there. Okay.
Just a little bit.
And I saw that you joined. I'm sorry, you're doing such a great job on the intro. My bad. But I saw that you subscribed to Hurricane Dave TV on
absolutely
on YouTube yesterday when that popped up on my phone. I said, oh, he's doing some research.
I also reported a few pages that had your name too. I just want you to know that.
I appreciate that, brother.
And you can interrupt much as you want because this is your time to shine. We just giving you your flowers, man.
Thank you, man.
For 10 straight years, you executive produce a yearly concert that sold out every time, including a year where the venue was changed last minute. And I'm talking about these concerts included Tip, T.I. for those, who may not know him like that. You call him Tip. You know what I'm saying? Kanye West, Nicki Minaj, Migos, Tory Lanez, Meg, Cardi B, Lil Baby, Yo Gotti, Gucci Mane. And it also featured me for about 10 minutes. We could talk about that too. I'm talking about the world famous birthday bash. See, the audience doesn't know this stuff.
Yeah, he was a big part of that.
I appreciate that, man. You were the biggest part of that. You took the legendary Stevie Wonder's radio station, KGLH in LA, and programming operations and marketing and consulted to a whole new level.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It was good. We came in #1 in every demo with African Americans in Los Angeles. That's a pretty big deal.
It is.
So I'm kind of proud of that.
Yeah, they actually listened to the station
is that right?
in LA,
oh, okay,
and
great.
she was
awesome.
like, she said, I heard a change. I didn't know what it was. I said a hurricane hit LA. All right, man.
Wow. I'm done. See you later.
We still got more. He's within 2 degrees of separation from almost every relevant name in radio, from New York to Atlanta to Texas to LA. I'm telling you this. Ask somebody on radio, they know this name, Hurricane Dave. He has the best watch collection on this side of the Mississippi. I was trying to see what you had on today. See, you got the big boy on today.
Mickey today.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, and we're going to talk about that too.
Okay.
He is certified in hypnotizing people. I don't know if that's true, but it sounded amazing when I read it. Okay. All right. We're going to see if it works today. He programmed winning stations from hip hop to soft rock. He's a family man, a loving father, a husband, a self-aware and fair individual who can also fly drones. There ain't too many people that can walk around and just do these things. Makes an amazing visual and audio promotion. This man has his own debit card company, for goodness sake. He's a dope, blank human being. My brother from another. Hurricane Dave has landed on the Reec Show.
Thank you. was quite an intro.
I ran out of music, so
Man, that was quite. I must keep this and repurpose it after you get done using it wherever you want to purpose it at.
Hey, man.
Then I need to repurpose it on some of my social stuff because that intro was the best.
It's all yours, brother. It's all yours.
Wow.
Let's get into this thing, man.
Yes.
First and foremost, congrats on the baby girls. Congratulations.
Yes,
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, my oldest daughter graduated from Georgia State.
Okay.
And then my middle daughter is about to graduate from high school. We won't say where.
Come on, man. Exactly.
It's in a nice neighborhood.
Don't need to know. Yeah, the zip code
you know.
is nice. That's all you need to know.
Zip code is nice. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, this is going to be mainly about radio, family, and your legacy. All right, so let's start off with a little bit of legacy. I talked to a person that you kind of helped bring up through the ranks yesterday.
Okay.
Maria Moore.
Oh, yes.
And Maria said this about Hurricane Dave. Said he's the definition of fluid, the way he tenaciously brings his self to the building, and his craft is willing to change and do what's best for his staff and his brands.
Yeah.
Never stuck in a stale way of thinking. How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel awesome. You know, I love Maria. I love her to death. She's an awesome talent. She's quite a brand builder. Mm-hmm. And our history goes back many, many years. Right. You know, I knew Marie when she was known as China Red, Maria. You know, when she was known as China Red. And it was in Tallahassee, Florida. And I have to, you know, give also props to Terry Thomas, because Terry Thomas did bring her to me and said, hey, here's a young lady I think that could be a superstar, and I trust Terry a lot. Right. And so we gave her an opportunity, and, you know, I mean, she's just amazing what she's been able to do. I mean, she's a powerhouse. Right. So to see her from Tallahassee, and, you know, she sometimes reminds me of the time that I had to get on her about something. This was back in the day when you can actually coach a person and give them some tough love. Now when you do that, they call that certain things like harassment or he's bullying or whatever. And really what you want is that person to be the very, very best. Yeah. And she took that on the chin and groomed herself and became the incredible talent that she is right now. She's one of the star pupils that I've had an opportunity to work with.
Give a round of applause for that, man. Dave knowing talent when he sees talent. We ain't
she's
playing.
Awesome. She's awesome. I love Maria.
So,
and her family, her husband, and everybody.
Absolutely.
You know, we family.
Right, absolutely, man. Just wanted to drop that on you real quick.
Nice, man. Yeah, that was nice. Nice surprise. Again, I'm kind of excited over here. I'm almost like if I had some, you know, more pale skin, you would see that I'm blushing. Because it's been a minute since I had a lot of love. So, you know, I appreciate the love.
You deserve it. You deserve every second of it. Shout out to everybody tuning in right now. Reec Radio, CNVA 107.5 Charlotte. What's happening? 103.1. We got the legendary Hurricane Dave. You just tuned in on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. All right, man, let's go ahead and get into a little bit of history. As a kid growing up, you running around with your Steelers jersey on. I'm just imagining that's what you was doing.
Yeah, love the Steelers. Oh, Pittsburgh fans? Awesome.
The terrible towels are in the building.
Yeah, yes.
See, there we go. It's all a full circle thing, man.
My mask is, you know, all about the Steelers.
Okay, yep.
It's not even football season, and I'm still representing for Pittsburgh. Absolutely.
That's what's up. Yes. All right, so as you growing up, did you think radio was going to be the claim to fame?
No, I didn't. I mean, really, when I was growing up, I was in between Long Beach, New York, and Wheeling, West Virginia. So when I was in Long Beach, we used to listen to WBLS. At least my older siblings used to listen to WBLS. Right. And it used to actually make me mad because we weren't able to do certain things because they had to have the radio. They were in control of the radio. And I might have wanted to watch television. Yeah. And so WBLS at that time was a thorn in my side. Now, of course, as I'm a grown man, you know, that's one of the most iconic radio stations in the whole entire United States. Yep. So I really fell into radio by accident. You know, I got my start when I was a sophomore in high school. We had a major consolidation of 4 different 4A schools. And of course, you know, I'm from Wheeling, West Virginia. We lived in East Wheeling. And that particular school was prominently black. The other schools were affluent schools. Nothing against East Wheeling and the school that we went to, but they consolidated that into one massive campus. And what happens is, when you have the rich mingling with the not so rich, you know, and you used to fight at the football games when, you know, because we were rivals. And when you put all of them into one big campus, you're going to have some friction.
And it's West Virginia, which is the most advanced place when it comes to certain things.
Careful now.
You know what I mean. I'm saying like
Did
certain
he just
things.
Insult me right now?
No, absolutely not.
Oh my gosh.
I'm talking about West Virginia, which was not very far from what happened on the news not too long ago. You know what I mean?
Well, I will tell you that Wheeling, West Virginia is in the northern panhandle, for those who don't know, because I'm kind of used to hearing people say things about West Virginia. Right. Did you used to kiss your cousin?
The Hatfields and McCoys,
yeah,
all of that
exactly. Did you wear shoes, that kind of stuff. And, when people used to say those type of things that would come down from New York, we would get together 5 or 6 of them and let them know what West Virginia was about.
What's up?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of that kind of got killed. Right. But the story is, when the schools consolidated into one, there was a lot of friction, and I had a study hall. And when you're in study hall and you got different people of different types of class, I'll put it that way, you can find yourself getting into trouble. And so they came to me with an option that, hey, man, you got to get out of here. Thankfully, there was a counselor who saw something in me when I was a sophomore and said, you got to get out of this environment because this environment is not working for you.
Gotcha.
And you need to get into another environment. So they brought me a list of alternative classes, and I took radio and television.
Man, I'm glad you met that lady, because I wouldn't be here probably right now.
No, you would be here. You come from good stock.
Exactly. Shout out to Pops.
Yeah, no doubt.
We're talking about a little bit of history with Hurricane Dave, man, and you didn't start out behind the mic. Start out in front of the mic.
Yeah.
You DJ'd all these high school parties.
Yeah, I sure did, and I can still hold the mic. I like to tell people I could bless the mic as good as anybody that I know right now.
Oh, you can.
On those ones and twos too.
Hold on one second, because we had something come in.
You done went and got an air check. Oh my God. Oh.
Pittsburgh. It's just before 4 o'clock. It's time for the old school lesson of the day. We started a little bit early, just before 4. Kicking it off with a little Hollywood swinging. Make sure you keep track of the jams. Write them down in the correct order. We got a nice soundtrack. Hey, if you know Hollywood swinging, a little cool. Number 4, 106 jams.
Hurricane Dave, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, yeah, you went back to Pittsburgh.
When you hear yourself on the microphone as a PD, with the PD ears now and the VP and the OM ears now.
Oh, that boy was good. That's what I said. That's what I
cut
said.
him a check right now. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, the air check session is obviously the highlight. Now, some of the first stuff that I ever did on the radio, I got to be honest with you. I got to say, why did they give that guy a job?
They saw the vision, though.
Yeah, well, I think what happens was it was an opportunity to plug somebody in there because they had to plug somebody in there. To be quite honest with you, my first 12 years in radio, I didn't even work at an urban station or a black station. I worked at top 40 and rock stations. Excuse me.
But does that give you some of your background of how you're so diverse and able to move around, like what Maria said?
Yeah, I mean, the reality of it is I got my training on how to do good radio from the other side of the fence.
Got you.
Nothing against what we do on the urban side, but I still love rock and roll to this day, classic rock. So what happened was, and this is kind of a funny story, the first time I got an opportunity to work, well, first of all, when I graduated from high school, they wouldn't hire me for 2 years in my hometown. For 2 years, I would go once a week to the 3 stations that was in my hometown, asking them for a job.
Wow, that's the grind right there.
Yeah, and they wouldn't give me one. And they wasn't trying to give me one. But the reality of it is just like anything in life, if you take that first no and go sit in the corner, guess what? You're going to be sitting in the corner for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
So I took those no's and came back once a week to each one of those radio stations until somebody finally said, you know what? This ninja,
he's gonna keep coming.
Yeah, he's gonna keep coming. He ain't got tired yet in 2 years.
And it's all about stamina.
Absolutely.
That's what this whole entertainment industry, especially when it comes down to radio or media, it's all about stamina. I think you're the epitome of that.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, they finally let me come in to run some tapes because they said he's not going to go away, and maybe they thought he might file an EEOC on us or something. Right. So they gave me an opportunity just to run tapes, and of course, I ran those tapes very good.
Now tell us about, because that doesn't happen anymore. So tell us, what does run tapes mean for those
Unfortunately, and this is a little bit down the road. The radio industry, due to consolidation, I don't want to say it's a dying medium because I love radio. I gave many years of radio to my life, but it's kind of a sad time, and it was happening before the pandemic. The pandemic sped up what we have right now. Yeah. As an example, there are at least 10 good, talented African-American program directors that are out of work. And some of them, and maybe myself included, may never get another job in radio because the positions have been consolidated. They're doing nationalized programming, And so we have to learn how to pivot. And there are people out there that just haven't decided to pivot.
Right.
But I learned a long time ago, man, to have different streams of income, different things you can do besides radio to make some money.
Yeah.
Or else you're gonna be hurting.
It seems like everything you love, you almost turn into a business or monetize it somehow.
Absolutely, bro.
Right.
I mean, I have dream about drones. You know, I love flying drones. I always had a fascination with aerial photography, so I have that company. I've invested in different tech companies.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an investor in Fanbase. You know, a small investor, but an investor nonetheless.
It's gonna give some dividends back.
Some people might say I'm a large investor.
Okay, then I would probably say that.
On the big scheme of things, I'm a small investor. I'm just excited for Fanbase because I think that could be the future. And
You got Branded Live?
I have Branded Live, absolutely, and I also have Branded Live apps. And I'm also creating, you know, different little things that I can't share just yet.
Right.
But I'm always going to be
got
thinking
secrets,
about technology, bro.
But you got secrets. We do maybe get some secrets today.
Maybe.
All right, let's keep talking, man. Let's stay on radio for a second, but I definitely want to get to the tech and all your gadgets.
Yeah, so let me finish this radio thing real quick, how I got my first start.
Yeah.
The person that was coming on at 10 o'clock in the morning at this little AM station called 16 WNEU, that person would go out and do the parties on Fridays, right? Just like we always do.
Right.
But they had to be at work at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so there were many times where they came into work and they was tired and somewhat still hungover.
I've been there before.
Yeah.
Not hungover, but tired.
Yeah, because you're working until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Then of course you creeping until about
then
3:30, 4 o'clock.
you got a janky promoter. You got to wait for your money till 5 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So this person one morning, he said, hey, I can't come in. And I called the program director and said, hey, this particular person can't come in. What do you want me to do? And of course, the program director was not about to have some black guy talking on this AM rock station, right? And so that first time, we just segued music. So the second week, it happened again.
Okay.
And I called him and he said, well, I tell you what, you got those liner cards in front of you, right? And of course I know the liner cards because I've been practicing all morning long.
Waiting for you've been stretching all day.
Because back then you could only talk 10 seconds on the air. So I had mastered that liner, frontwards, backwards, in the middle, behind my head, every kind of way. So when he said, okay, well, 10 minutes after, you can do a talk break.
Okay.
And I said, okay. So obviously from 10 o'clock until 10 after, I had practiced it 30,000 times. When I opened up that mic at 10 after, I mastered it. Went through it, no problems, no stuttering. Didn't sound like Joe, the cool African American who's working at the white station.
Right.
I just sounded generic. And he called and said, hey, that wasn't bad.
Okay.
He said at 20 after, read the next line.
Okay.
So from 10 after to 20 after, mastered that liner. And then he called and said, you can talk every 2 songs.
Wow.
And that following week, that guy didn't have that.
I got to play the bell for these things.
That guy didn't have the job that following week. The following week, I was running tapes and doing the midday show.
Sheesh, that's what's up, man. So that's the intro to, but you weren't Hurricane Dave yet.
No.
What was the name that you were going by at this point?
At that point, I was the G-Man.
Okay.
The G-Man David Glenn.
I like it. Shout out to the G-Man. I like that, man. We get a little insight on that. So that was the epitome of be there and be ready.
Absolutely. You know, that old saying, you know, you ain't got to get ready if you stay ready.
Yep.
Because you never know when that opportunity is going to happen. And even with today's society, with social media being so popular, you know, and I tell this to people sometimes so they can be encouraged. One little thing that you do can change your whole life.
Absolutely. Yep.
You know, and that's good or bad too. But you know, if you have a good idea, that one idea can take you from poverty, you know, to the top of the food chain.
Right. Well,
So
it's taking you around the country, man. Just being
blessed.
ready.
I've been blessed.
That's what's up. Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you still remember the 10-second liner?
No, I don't. That was many moons ago. Many moons ago.
So then we get birth. Fast forward, you go from there, you go to a few different markets, and you land in Texas, and Hurricane Dave is born.
Yeah. Well, actually, before the Hurricane Dave was born, when I landed in Texas, it was my first time working at an urban station. And the story behind that is, they back in the day, we used to have trade magazines. Of course, we don't have any of that anymore because everything's digital. But they ran an ad in a magazine called Radio and Records Magazine, and the ad said, "Tip us off to the next person that we hire, and we'll pay you $500."
And you won it.
And I won it.
Yep.
And I tipped him off to a guy who was working in Columbus, Ohio,
Okay.
doing Top 40, and I sent it to them, and they decided to hire the person. And when I got there, guess what they didn't want to give me?
Your $500.
The $500.
That's crazy.
They said, yo, you got the job. I mean, you should be happy with that. And I said, no, I need that 500 so I could use it to, the radio game is a trip, bro.
Cutthroat.
You already know.
Yeah, I do.
You already know. But we love it though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We love it.
We're here now.
Absolutely.
Right.
Doing Reec Radio. I'm excited to be in here, man. This is so awesome. I'm really proud of you too, brother.
Thank you, man. Don't have me start cutting onions. We ain't get through this interview yet. I'm trying to get through this interview, Dave.
Yeah, we got time.
All right, man. Shout out to Hurricane Dave right now, right here, Reec Radio. He just did the station ID. I don't have to do it, but big ups to CFVA 1075 up in Charlotte. Cammy, what's up, baby? I see y'all checking in. Shout out to everybody on Facebook that's been tapping in. They want shout outs. We got y'all in a second. We got to do this thing.
Facebook.
Oh, hit him up. Ask him. Okay, he said it, not me. Let's go ahead. You could go ahead and shout up, ask a question on Facebook for the G-Man.
If I don't want to answer that, I'm not going to answer.
Nah, this is not that type of show anyway. So.
There's always people lurking. There's
always.
You know, I'm built for this. And at the end of the day, man, the good Lord has blessed me. You know, the last year, bro, has been not the worst, but some of the best times of my entire life.
Let's talk about the pandemic with Hurricane. I'm loving all the visuals you're doing, the content you do with the family, and the other content you're doing too, man. So what has the pandemic done to you? What other arms has it grown for you?
Well, let me just tell you, the most important arm that it grew for me was one, my relationship with God, my relationship with my wife, and my relationship with my kids.
Gotcha.
Especially my youngest, obviously, because sometimes I put her on there. Right. And what I realized, and it was really like a revelation, like when I worked at the radio station, I worked all day.
Yeah.
And most of the time into the evening. And so I would get home at about 7:30, sometimes 8 o'clock. One, because I wanted to miss that terrible Atlanta traffic.
As we all do.
Yeah, so by the time I would get home, I would spend maybe about 35, 40 minutes to an hour with my daughter.
Yeah.
And of course, my wife and the rest of the family would have dinner. Then she got to get in the shower.
Right.
And then she got to get ready for bed because she got school.
Right.
And so what I realized, and I didn't realize it while it was happening, because when you work and you're like consumed with work, I was only spending about
5-6 hours a week.
Yeah, with my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, literally like an hour and 10 minutes per day. And I went from that to spending all day.
Wow.
And I don't care. There's no amount of money that could replace that. There's no amount of status that could replace that.
Right.
There's no amount of fame and influence that could replace this particular time in my life. So when people like looking at me like, dude, you good? Oh, I'm better than good.
Oh, great. Let's drop a bomb for that.
I'm the best that I've ever been.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm
Man,
the
I
best
love
that I've ever and the good Lord also made sure that we didn't miss any meals. We ain't miss any bills. And me and my wife got stronger than ever.
Through the pandemic. I love it. Now, there's a lot. Man, divorce rate is at all time high through the pandemic.
Absolutely, because people can't stand each other when they find out they got to be with each other.
All day. You can't get away.
Tell me something.
Crazy.
I want to see my wife right now.
That's what I'm talking about. That's another interview, Dave.
All right, let me stop.
Shout out to Miss Maya, though. What's happening?
She's amazing. She's a beautiful person. She's beautiful.
I bet you dove heavily into the gadgets and tech now.
Yeah,
too.
I did. Yeah, I learned so much. I'm trying to pick up a second language.
Okay.
So I tell people, hey, when you got this downtime, what are you doing with it? Because now is actually the most perfect time. Well, back then, but even now still, is the most perfect time to invest in yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you're stuck at home. Learn a different language. I'm trying to learn some Spanish.
Okay, me too.
I wish I had learned that when I was in high school.
Man, I'm using not Babbel, it's the other one. I'm using that for like 3 times a week right now. Trying to learn a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm on that Babbel.
I'm gonna call you on and just talk straight Spanish from now on.
I think we should just watch some Spanish movies for a long time.
I'm watching Narcos.
Oh yeah,
I'm watching Narcos.
Is dope.
Yeah, man. So see, that's what I'm talking about. My brother dropping bomb for us watching the same stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I'm just reading the subtitles.
Like Pops over there.
You know, with the shirt on. He looking like Pablo over there.
Yeah. Don't mess with Pops.
Man, for real though, man. So I'll just keep learning all the curse words on watching Narcos. I gotta watch something else.
Yeah. But we should learn. We should be trying to educate ourselves.
Yeah.
Take your question seriously. During this pandemic is the perfect time, I think, to start a home-based business.
Yeah.
Get yourself registered as a minority business enterprise if you can.
That's important.
Or a black-owned woman business if you're a lady, and get some of these government contracts.
It's a lot of contracts up there just like you said, for us and just for people of minorities. And it's also grants and things like that that are for-profit businesses too. So make sure you guys check that out. Which brings me to my next question: currencies. I see you flipping them cryptos, Dave. I don't know if the IRS is listening, but we can talk about it a little bit.
Man, I love this color, brother.
I do too.
I love this color.
NLP coaching. Tell me about that.
Nah, I don't mind talking about cryptos. Listen, I got involved in cryptocurrency a long time ago.
You were the first person I heard talking about Bitcoin.
Is that right? Yeah. I got into Bitcoin a long time ago. I own some Ethereum, some Litecoin. Now, one of the things I didn't buy is this Dogecoin.
I did. I got it when it was under 5 cents.
Did you really? Oh, then you good.
Yeah, I had 6,000 shares.
Okay, well, hello.
I'm mad at this dip, but I'm just gonna hold on tight.
Yeah, it's funny. I keep watching it, and I keep saying it's like, the double dutch, right?
Yeah, like
you gonna get in? You gonna get in? And I just haven't gotten in there yet on that one. But I'll be honest with you. When I hate when people say I'm gonna be honest with you, because that meant you was lying before.
Right. It's all good.
But we're talking about cryptos.
Right.
I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention. I got in, made an investment, and put it under a lock and key, and never thought about it again.
That's probably the best way, because if you, like me, I was driving myself crazy the first time.
Oh yeah, you watching that thing? Oh, don't watch it.
Nah, it'll drive you nuts, because like I said, I got in at a very low amount, and it spiked at like 51 cents at one time.
I've been watching it.
I let go of like half of it, and I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Luckily, I stuck with it, and I saw a drop, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I should have kept it. Then it spiked again.
Yeah. I always tell people when they call me, because people still hit me, and shout out to Empress Cersei, if I can shout him out.
Man, come on. Yeah, anybody.
Empress Cersei is a guru, and he knows how to play the game. Plus the whole cars game as well, flipping cars and buying
houses
cars.
too.
And houses
too.
Yeah, he's someone that I really, really admire in the game. But I stopped watching it, and then one day somebody texted me and said, hey, you see what that crypto's doing? And I was like, no. And then they sent me a screenshot, and I saw that Bitcoin was like 57,000 or something like that. And I told my wife, I said, yo, this Bitcoin is going crazy right now. You know what she said? Sell it all.
Sell it.
Nah, I ain't selling them. I really want to wait until it gets to about 100 grand.
Yeah, I think it will, man. The trend is crazy, and every time Elon Musk gets on and says something about any coin, Bitcoin goes up. So yeah. Now
man. They said that Dogecoin was started as like a joke.
Yeah, it was. It was a novelty coin off of another coin, and it's been crazy. I didn't know that. Luckily, I probably wouldn't have invested in it if I knew that. But I'm feeling good right now.
I'm sure. Yeah.
We can go to dinner after this.
Okay, then that's what's up. That's what's up.
Right now, we kicking it with Hurricane Dave. He's giving us all types of gems, man, and all types of info, man. And these businesses, you talking about crypto. I want to bring up NLP coaching, because I want you to kind of dive into that a little bit. I see you. I love when you do something, you do the research, you get certified, and then you do it. So it's not just I'm a serial entrepreneur. You really do this.
Yeah, I am a serial entrepreneur that does it. I'll put it that way. I just love technology, but I got certified in NLP coaching, which stands for programming.
Okay.
It has to do with the minds and really the cells and how our bodies are connected. It's really amazing. And once you find out how that all works, like, self-help books and all of that stuff, it really does affect the way you feel and how you look at life. People can be knocked all the way down into the dirt, but if your mind is right, bro, they can't hurt you.
Nah, not at all.
Things can't hurt you. And so I like dived into that. And I am working on a coaching program, and people keep saying, well, when are you going to come out with it? You got Hurricane Dave University, and I do a lot of research. But what I found out, and this is going to make the coaches mad who may be listening, but the reality of it is from watching it, the self-help industry is predatory, bro.
It's like church industry, and I don't want to offend anybody.
Right.
But if they can scare you into believing something, then you're more apt to keep believing it through the fear instead of the actual the gifts that should be coming with it.
Yeah. I mean, I joined a couple of different coaching organizations, and I bought a couple of programs, because sometimes when you watch people, you're like, you know what? I'm not really learning anything from you, but I'm going to buy this course.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, because I want to support you.
Right.
Because one day I'm going to ask somebody to support me and buy one of my coaching programs. And a couple of times that I bought a couple of courses, and I got to be honest with you, they didn't do what they said they were going to do. I never got the follow-up that I thought I was going to get.
Yeah.
And it was really disappointing. And I was like, you know what? This is so predatory because there are so many people out there that are so desperate, so looking, they need somebody. Take
Save
me to
me.
the light. Yeah.
Right.
There's, I mean, it's a billion-dollar industry, and a lot of the people that I look at, they're predators.
Yeah, I see that too. You know, between Sunday night and Monday morning,
Yeah,
everybody
man.
dread going to work. They're like, I need to find a mentor. I need to do something different with my life. And that's what they're catching the people, unfortunately.
And but I will tell you, David Shan, Sleep is for Suckers.
My guy. Shout out to Dave.
I love Dave. You know, he has a morning boot camp every morning. And when my wife is home watching Brooklyn, because you know I'm in the first grade with her, because I'm like with her with the
Real
teachers.
teaching.
The teachers know me, you know. But David Shands does a morning boot camp every morning from 8 until 9 o'clock, and there's literally like 300 people on there. He's trying to get it to 1,000. So I want to give him mad props. David Shands.
Drop bomb for Dave, man. Dave's a great guy, man.
He's a great guy, man, and he's one of the coaches that delivered.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
There's very few, but he's one of the few that has delivered.
Yeah.
And he's a pretty dope guy.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Dave, man. Shout out to his studio. We actually talked while he was building his, I was building mine. We exchange information and all types of stuff. Great dude, man. So
Good dude.
he's one of them guys that understands it's enough for everybody.
Absolutely, and he'll share with you what he can, and he'll be honest with you. Sometimes when he's doing his morning boot camp, he'll talk about a particular course, and he'll say something, and he's so just natural with it, and he'll laugh and say, "Listen, I'm telling this right now. I need you to buy the course."
Right.
Okay.
Right.
This is why I'm
It's
telling
genuine,
you.
yeah.
Yeah. It's not like, hey, this course is gonna change your world, because none of those courses are gonna change your world.
No.
If you're not willing to change.
You got to put the work into it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's
bro.
what's up. Now, speaking of great podcasting, the Hurricane Day podcast.
Yeah, I got the podcast. I'm going to get some of this audio and repurpose it and put it on the podcast.
It's yours. You're on it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, so I do have that, and I've talked about a couple of changes in the music industry. I will tell you that podcasting for me didn't turn out to be like the thing, oh, God, I want to podcast every week. I'm just really... my mind is one of those minds that shifts gears a lot. Like I said, I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Right.
You know, my wife sometimes is like, you got another one?
You got another one. You was just flying planes.
Exactly.
Now you buying Bitcoins.
And she's supportive and all of that. But the reality of it is, I get bored with technology after a while. I have to have something new.
Gotcha.
But the key thing about that, Reece, is just one. Just one of those things. You know, I was one of 13 African Americans in the country, so one of the first to have his own prepaid card.
Yeah.
To get certified as a MasterCard service provider from MasterCard.
I have to drop these bombs for this thing.
One of 13. So I've done a lot of different things, but then of course,
Other people.
Walmart.
Yeah. Everybody. Cash App started with Hurricane Day at ECS.
But nobody, Entertainment Card Services, nobody wanted the underbanked community's money.
Yeah, that's true.
And I said, well, we'll put it on a card. And I had a card called Per Diem Card.
Yep.
And then when people started realizing, wait a second, these underbanked people actually got money.
Yeah, and then the Rush card dropped to some other things. But I'm
Absolutely.
just telling you, we know what, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave it like that.
Yeah, and there's some other cards that dropped from a certain company.
Right.
But that's cool.
We'll leave them nameless.
Yeah.
We'll let them breathe right now.
Yeah, let them breathe.
But I'm excited about your podcast because, like, we've been talking and you have such a wealth of knowledge on different things.
Thank you, sir.
What do you see it coming? Like, what are your thoughts on podcasting coming from radio and seeing it? I see it's almost like a transition.
Yeah, I got to be straight with you. I don't know if podcasting is all of that they're claiming it to be. And being a pure radio guy, I mean, I'm a purist. Again, I've been doing radio since I was a sophomore in high school. So anything that takes you away from over-the-air radio or terrestrial radio, even podcasting, it makes me say, well, okay. I know there are companies that are investing heavily in podcasting. But they really don't tell you how much money they're making.
Exactly.
You know, there's one big company out there, one of the biggest ones, that says, okay, well, you know, the podcasting revenue is up 300%.
From where?
Exactly.
Right.
Tell us,
Right.
where did it come from? Because if you say, okay, well, the podcasting revenue has doubled, but it doubled from 100,000 to 200,000,
Right.
but you're making 8, 9, 10 million on the radio side.
Yeah, where the balance has to show me somewhere.
Yeah. Radio, you know, radio is not cool anymore, apparently. You know?
I beg to differ, because it's like, where do you get information, live information, up-to-date information? Like, my worst and best day in radio was, it was like the first week I was on, I had to announce that Prince had passed away.
Yeah.
And I'm the first voice for people to understand that one of their favorite artists is no longer with us. You know what I'm saying? So you build that live connection.
Yeah. Yeah, the industry is changing so rapidly right now, Reece, and the downsizing, and a lot of it has to do with the pandemic, but radio listening had been falling, you know, it's been falling for years, especially on the pop side more so than on the urban side. But nowadays, these companies are consolidating, doing regionalized programming, and I'm not hating on that, because if you give me a job, I'll do it.
Let's go. Cut the check. Me too. Let me just say that right here.
Let me get in the funnel. Put me in the funnel, coach.
I ain't mad at that.
But to a certain degree, I also get, you know, what's happening. You know, and the consolidation piece really started with the Telecommunications Act of I think it was 1976.
When they broke up Bell South.
96, exactly, yeah.
Yep.
And so it really started back then, where these owners started gobbling up other radio owners and consolidating. And if you make somebody mad in a small town,
they can just shut you
they
down
can
and
just
shut you out.
down. Yeah, you can't get a job anywhere. Where before you could be like, you know what, I don't like you either. I'm going across the street.
Right.
Well,
But now across the street is owned by the same guy.
You go through a back door and you come back. Oh, it's you again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I
didn't
said.
mean it.
Yeah. So, but again, just like anything in life, if you prepare for it,
you're ready.
You're gonna be all right. Yeah.
You're ready, man. And this is where you become Hurricane Dave in these situations. Just breeze through all of this stuff.
Man. I'm blessed. I have no complaints. I got friends that have found themselves out of work, and I talk to them and offer them words of encouragement. And one of them is a very prominent person who doesn't look like me. He's not an African American. And I was talking to him, and he said, Dave, I got to be honest with you. I've been doing this so long, I don't know what else to do. I was like,
that happens with not just people in business, but athletes, artists, all types of stuff. You get so enthralled in what you're doing and getting better, and then what happens when that's taken out from under you?
Absolutely. You just find yourself out. And I used to tell the staff, you know, I used to have those staff meetings about building your own brand.
Yes, sir.
While you're on that brand.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate that, because not all PDs and OMs and VPs and all the titles you had.
They're afraid to say it.
Yeah.
And owners don't necessarily want you to say that. But as I tell owners and I tell my management team when I'm working for them, the bigger we make Reece. Now, granted, you were a little bit different. That's, you know, because you already had a big name in your market. But say we take this bottle of water.
Right.
The bigger we make this bottle of water, and that bottle of water is funneled on our train, then we rise up too.
It's coming to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And those that don't do that are those that are people that are program directors, I think, that maybe are a little bit insecure.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, man. You've never been one to do that, to put a chain on somebody. No. And I wanted to say that just publicly. You've always been like, hey, you doing that? Cool, I'll support it. Anytime we did a community event or outside a community event, you was like, it makes sense, I'm going to support it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we need to have more of that. And I think that's part of the problem that radio is having. Yeah. Radio is not doing those type of things.
Ey're not building the superstars up like they could.
And we don't have a funnel like we used to have a funnel at night. Overnight, people would get their teeth wet and groomed up to a certain point to where they could get some exposure. Yeah. And now we just don't have that.
Right. First time I cracked that mic, 2 a.m.
Absolutely. Me too. That was me as well. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, I appreciate that, man. Right now, we're kicking on Hurricane Dave. Shout out Reec Radio Live. Everybody that's tuned in right now on the mobile apps and on our live stream. Of course, CNVA 107.5 and 103.1. We up in Huntsville. Said all that right. I'm happy and proud of myself. All right, man. The family man, Hurricane Dave.
Yes.
Can we please get Breakfast with Brooklyn as a show? I just want the show.
Yeah. Brooklyn is, boy, she's something else, man. I mean, I love all my kids, but obviously I'm spending the most time with her.
But you're doing class with her, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I am doing a class. We in first grade together. And, And yeah, she's just she just lights me up, you know. And again, I think if you have a purpose, that'll also keep you grinding on the side, because at the end of the day, you don't want her to want for anything.
Absolutely.
I don't want any of my kids to want for anything. And I'll share one other thing. One of the reasons why I'm a serial entrepreneur is one of the times when I got let go, I was looking in my son's eyes, David Tyler.
Yeah.
And
Shout out to Dave.
Yep.
Know all the guys.
Yeah,
and
you know
girls.
my whole family, bro. Every market that I've been in, as you know, I attach myself to the community. I want to be a part of it. I was on the board of directors here in Atlanta for Hosea Feed the Hungry and Homeless for quite a while. So I've always given to the community.
Right.
And in every market that I go in, I find a radio station. Let's get into the community, see how we can help people on Thanksgiving, you know, feed the homeless.
Yeah, we had the Christmas Angels at High. You had a lot of initiatives that you were really behind.
Yeah.
And every time we do a big event, you not just support, make sure it's on air.
Working.
When we did the water giveaway, you came with a whole shopping cart full of water for the people in Flint.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we did a clothing drive, you coming with coats. The toy drive, you coming and handing out bikes to the kids. So
but that's how God made me, right? And so when we were in Cleveland, Ohio, I was working, and about 2 weeks prior to, we went and fed some homeless people. We passed out sandwiches, my whole family.
Yeah.
And my oldest son, and I want them, the reason why I do that too is I want them to understand how blessed they are and how they should be giving back, right? So we were at that particular location, and we were passing out sandwiches, and then it was 2 weeks after that they decided to make a change at the station that I was in.
Right.
And my son immediately thought about the people that we had been helping.
Wow.
And it touched him. And this is why I will never have just one stream of income. I don't care how much money I might be making, I'm gonna have some other streams.
Right.
Because that day, when I got home and told them, hey, they decided to make a change in the programming department, my son looked at me with the most beautiful brown eyes and said, Dad, how are we going to eat?
Because he understood what you just did.
What we just did 2 weeks ago, he immediately equated that we could be out on the streets like that.
Yeah.
And when he looked in my eyes, man, I'm telling you, you talk about a knife being straight to the chest. And I said at that moment, never, ever will I let any job, any radio station, any opportunity keep me to one thing. Because they want to own you and run you just, you know, when they're done with you, they're done with you.
Right.
So, you know, to my future employer,
Right.
which is me, by the way,
right.
and other entities that may come up, I'm gonna keep me another job.
Hey man, that's just learned behavior, and that's what it is now anyway. Like you have to have different avenues of income,
Absolutely,
to make
brother.
it work.
Absolutely,
Man, Hurricane Dave dropping more gems right there. He's probably gonna put that on a T-shirt. I gotta eat with two hands.
got to, man, because your family is relying on you.
Absolutely,
You
man.
know, and if you don't find yourself having other streams of money coming in, that's when you're going to do something stupid.
Yeah.
And you're going to do something desperate, because at the end of the day, you know, every man for himself.
Yeah, that is true. That
Every
is
man for
definitely true.
himself.
But we know how you live, and we know you put God first. So
Amen.
we know how
Amen.
you coming, man.
Amen.
Hurricane Dave right here. I got a few more questions before we round this thing off. We done went for 50 minutes. I ain't mad at it.
fast?
It just flew through. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to everybody tuned in right now. I do want to ask you a couple of things. You post these amazing date pictures.
Yes.
That get me in trouble. It's like, why haven't we gone there? So give me 3 restaurants. If somebody's looking to take their lady out or whatever they do, you know what I'm saying? Give me 3 restaurants, and y'all need to get this man a discount or something, a coupon next time he come to these restaurants.
I will
he
tell
gonna pull
you.
them up.
Yeah, look, I gotta look at my phone, because I have my restaurant saved under food
See,
dash.
that's what I'm talking about.
You know.
The tech man has spoken. This is the
Yeah.
iPhone 15. Because he
Nah.
always gets a new iPhone. I used to
You're
clown. I'll be
so
like, Dave, what you got, a
crazy.
13?
No, I don't know what this is.
That thing got 6 cameras on the
It's
back.
whatever the latest one is. There's a food restaurant called Tin Bistro. I don't have the address, but
Okay. We can look.
Tin
We got Google it.
Bistro
We good.
is good.
Okay.
You know who's really good at these restaurants is Cannon Kent.
Okay,
She turns me on to a
yeah,
lot.
Cannon does post. Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to Cannon. What's
Yeah.
up, Cannon? She got the best smile ever.
She's awesome too,
Yeah.
man. She's good people. She turned me on to a restaurant called Local 3.
Okay.
And in my little parentheses, Rabbit here.
Oh, okay. They got rabbit.
They got Rabbit, so
See,
that
you know
that
it's
was
real
good.
when they got rabbit.
Oh yeah. And of course they got many Raised on the River.
Yeah,
You know, Raised
yeah.
on the River is kind of like a standard.
Can't lose. You been to South City Kitchen before?
No.
You got to try South.
Is that on the south side of town?
No, it's right. It's South City. It's a French-based restaurant, but the menu changes every season. Yeah, it's South City Kitchen.
Is that the one that's across the street from that club?
I believe so. They have one there, and they have one in Vinings.
Yeah. I've been to the one across the street from that club we used to broadcast live from.
I think it was Taboo.
No.
But South City Kitchen is dope. It's dope.
I've eaten in there.
And you got to put a quote unquote. They have duck.
Is that right?
I've eaten at a place that I felt like I made it. I ain't gonna lie.
Wild game is good, man.
Yeah.
Have you ever had alligator?
I have. It was like chewy chicken.
Yeah, chewy chicken. Yep. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I tried pretty much anything except pork and fast women. That's another story, but that's different. So yeah, man. So right now we right here with Hurricane Dave, round this thing on out, man. What we like to do at the end of the show, we like to say two things. One, I want to ask you one thing. Okay. What do you say to Hurricane Dave that's first about to crack that mic in West Virginia? You about to jump on Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, you about to jump on the microphone. What do you go back and say to him if you can give him just like a sentence?
Wow, that's a good question. If I would give him a sentence, word economy. Remember I used to say that all the time?
Absolutely.
Word economy. Say more using less words. You know, I would say that. And the younger me, I would say, you can't help everybody. And that's probably one of the bigger ones. You cannot help everybody. Unfortunately, I learned that the hard way, you know, in life. But everybody can't be helped. Yeah. Because there are some people, while you're trying to help, they're going to snatch you down to their level.
They're trying to help themselves with blinders on.
Yes. But yeah, so that's what I would say. Word economy, and you can't help everybody.
Right. I use word economy daily here at Reec Radio. Thanks.
All right. I need to go ahead and get that trademark.
For real though, man. I think that could be a book. Yeah, word economy.
Well, you know, it's so funny. A couple of people asked me, well, what's going on with your book, Kane's Rules for Success? I've been talking about it for a while. The chapters aren't finished in it. You know, I'm still living the Kane's Rules for Success.
Got you.
And so I won't put that out until the final chapter is done. And that's when, you know...
Can you please just drop a part 1 and part 2 so we can get some of it?
Yeah. I'm an open book. Right. Most people can reach me, and although I need to start charging for that as well.
Yeah, you do. The consultation fee.
That. Yeah.
I'm going to get a coupon, though.
Yeah. You can reach me anytime, brother. This is awesome. I love being on the show. And it's so funny when I've watched it so many times on Facebook, to see it on Facebook and to actually be in the room. It's kind of like you have that aha moment. When I walked in, I was like, "Oh wow, this is it."
Right, it's in 3D. Sometimes when you walk into places, you get disappointed. I understand. I appreciate you having that. Oh, okay.
No, when I came, you saw me. It was genuine. Yeah. When I came in, I was like, "Okay, this is it. This is it." What's up. And the facilities here are awesome too. I mean, you guys have this giant room where you can go in. It's a green room where you could put a whole band in a green room, which is right down the hall. I mean, there's so many different areas in this facility, in this space. And I told your pops, who I love, by the way, you know. And you know, I want to share something real quick about how I met you guys. You know, and one of the reasons why I think we've been close. Yeah. You know, you're kind of like a brother that I didn't have. Right. You know, I'm the youngest of 9 kids, but I have my father in my life. You know, really wasn't in my life. I only saw my dad like 4 times. Right. And I think I shared this story with you. And the other siblings are from a different man.
Gotcha.
But my mom met my father, my natural born father, and she had her tubes tied. So I was an unwanted pregnancy, basically, a surprise pregnancy.
You're a miracle baby.
You know, it really is. I really believe that God has a purpose for me. Even all the stuff that I'm going through, I'm supposed to go through these things because other people need to see it, as well as me going through it. Because when I come out on the other side, it's going to be so amazing.
You're a testament, bro. And I just want to, I'm cutting you off on purpose. I do want to say this. The travel of those who are destined for greatness is filled with cobblestone pathway.
Absolutely, bro.
I know that for
absolutely,
a fact.
Absolutely. And my faith has not wavered at all. You know, when people call me and they say, "How you doing?" I'm like, "I'm blessed. I'm really happy. I'm not sad. I don't miss any of that other stuff because I replaced it with something way more valuable, right?"
Talk to them.
Yeah, and so when you replace it with something more valuable, you don't think about that.
Yeah.
I don't think about that. And people, you know, there's some people out there that want to see me cry.
Yeah. That's about as much as you're gonna get, baby.
You ain't never gonna see me cry,
Right.
Because I'm too ordained, I'm too blessed by God to let anything get under my skin, man.
Right.
I'm not gonna let nothing get under my skin. God has blessed me so many different ways, bro, and He's still gonna bless me, because He knows what time it is.
That's what's up, man. The words from Hurricane Dave. Now we did choose this. We on our outro. Got to switch this music up real quick and bring on a little bit of nip because the little marathon continues. You know what I'm saying? The marathon. Guys. Shout out to Doc. Doc just walked in. We're gonna grab him for a quick sound bite too,
Doc?
man.
What's going on?
I do want to say this as we round the show out, and I appreciate you coming in. Thank you, man, for your time, man. For real. Yeah, we did steal something for your page. This is for our Reese's Peace of Mind. This is what we always do. Our Pops Knows Best segment, where we try to leave you with a little bit of inspiration. You posted something that really hit for me. It says, choose purpose over profit and distance over disrespect. And you just kind of explained that with what you just said, man.
Yeah. That post was, I walked away from an opportunity, believe it or not, making a 6-figure salary because it no longer suited me. You know, and it was a golden opportunity. And I chose to walk away. I mean, when you think about it, who walks away from a 6-figure job in a pandemic?
Hurricane Dave.
A person who was blessed by God.
Yes.
And has his priorities.
Over profit.
Purpose over profit.
Yeah, there you go. Purpose over profit, distance over disrespect, man. That's what's up. Log on and follow this man right now for more of these gems at Hurricane Dave across all social media platforms except YouTube. It's Hurricane Dave TV. Now, speaking of purpose over profit, this gentleman, he hit us up, man, out of the blue. Well, through a mutual acquaintance, and he said that, hey,